In a peaceful African village lived Ozioma, a young farmer known more for his dreams of quick riches than for actual work. When he stumbled upon a mysterious path promising fortune without effort, he thought his destiny had finally arrived. But every shortcut comes with a hidden cost. Through trials, illusions, and a final awakening, Ozioma discovers the true meaning of wealth, one that cannot be found on any magic road, but in the sweat of honest labor. Please like and subscribe so you won't miss the next story. In the gentle heart of Umuokpara village, the sunrise always came with a promise. The roosters crowed proudly, the palm trees swayed with morning wind, and the earth carried the smell of dew and hope. Farmers woke before the first ray of light touched the red earth. They stretched their muscles, picked up their hoes, and headed toward their farmlands humming age-old work songs. Everyone worked. Everyone except Ozioma Nwankwo. Ozioma was 25, tall enough to cast a long shadow, broad-shouldered enough to lift a sack of yam like a feather. Yet somehow, no force on earth could convince him to work longer than 10 minutes. His mother often said he had a lion's body with a tortoise's spirit. Every morning, instead of going to his farmland like other young men, Ozioma strolled lazily toward the Udala tree, the biggest in the entire village. The tree stood proudly at the center of Umuokpara, its branches stretched wide like a protective umbrella. Children played beneath it, elders told stories under it, and hard-working villagers rested under its shade after hours of labor. But Ozioma used it for something else: dreaming. He would lie back, arms folded, staring at the sky as if waiting for the clouds to rain gold coins. On this particular morning, when the sun's rays were just beginning to warm the soil, Mama Uloku, his mother, stood at the doorway of their mud house, her arms akimbo. "Ozioma," she called, her voice slicing through the morning air like a cutlass. "Have you gone to your farm today?" He stretched like a cat waking from a delicious nap. "Mama, I will go. I will go. After I rest small." Mama Uloku frowned. "Rest from what? You have not even lifted a hoe." He blinked lazily. "Mama, a man must plan before working." "Plan?" She scoffed. "Your plan is to sleep. If laziness were riches, you would be the wealthiest man in Umuokpara." Ozioma grinned. "Mama, my riches are coming. One day soon you will see." She shook her head. "My son, wealth does not fall from the sky. It comes from the ground, where you refuse to go." But her words slid off him like water off a palm leaf. With a carefree shrug, he strolled away, humming a tune only he understood. The village's opinion. By afternoon, the village square buzzed with activity. Women returned from the stream balancing clay pots on their heads. Children chased goats. Men discussed farming techniques, rainfall predictions, and market prices. But they all had time to discuss one topic. "Ozioma again. That boy will not kill me with laughter. How can someone be so strong yet so lazy? His father was a hard-working man. I don't know how Ozioma turned out like this." The village elders often sighed whenever his name came up. But Ozioma didn't care. If anything, he enjoyed the attention. He would stroll into the square with the confidence of a king. One of the traders, Mama Ijike, called to him jokingly, "Ozioma, come and help me carry this load. Maybe small work will not kill you." He placed a hand dramatically on his chest. "Mama Ijike, I am a big man. My destiny is to count money, not carry loads." The crowd burst into laughter. But beneath the laughter there was worry, a deep, quiet concern. They knew the truth. A farmland left unattended becomes a graveyard of wasted seeds. And that was exactly what happened to Ozioma's land. Ozioma's neglected farm. His father had left him one of the most fertile plots in Umuokpara. For years it produced baskets of yam, cassava, and vegetables. But now weeds grew proudly there, taller each week, choking whatever plants were left. Goats wandered through freely, chewing leaves as if invited. Birds perched on abandoned stakes. The soil cracked from thirst. Yet whenever anyone mentioned it to Ozioma, he simply shrugged. One day, he always said, I will hire many workers to do everything. My wealth will come suddenly. But no one knew where he expected this miracle to come from. The secret of his daydreams. Under the Udala tree, Ozioma often imagined himself riding a grand horse through the village. His clothes would be made of the finest fabrics. Gold rings would cover his fingers. A crowd would follow behind, praising him. Yes, he murmured to himself. That is the life meant for me. On some days, he imagined strangers arriving with a bag full of treasure, choosing him of all people, as the rightful owner of a long-lost fortune. On other days, he imagined discovering a hidden cave filled with coins and treasures left by ancient warriors. It was always dreams. Always fantasies. Never action. His mother's pain. One evening, Mama Uloka sat alone by the fireplace, grinding ogbono seeds for soup. The soft firelight trembled across her tired face. She sighed deeply as she heard Ozioma laughing loudly under the Udala tree. "Oh Chiaku, what am I going to do with this boy?" she whispered. She had raised him alone since his father's passing. She taught him farming, morals, and the pride of honest labor. But somewhere along the way, her son learned the wrong lesson, wanting rewards without effort. She looked toward the darkening sky and prayed. Let something wake him up. Let something teach him wisdom. Little did she know, her prayer was already on its way. The strange rumor. Later that night, a group of boys ran through the village shouting excitedly. A traveler is coming. A stranger with a staff that glitters. He's almost here. They say he is no ordinary man. People stepped out of their houses. Torches flickered to life. Children peeked from behind their mothers. The air filled with whispers, curiosity, and wonder. Ozioma, hearing the noise, sat up under the Udala tree and frowned. A traveler. At this hour, he muttered. He stood, dusted his wrapper, and walked toward the village entrance. The crowd had already begun to gather. And then, a soft breeze swept through the village. The torches flickered. The air felt suddenly different. From the shadows of the forest path, an elderly man emerged. His beard was silver. His wrapper was crimson. His staff glittered like starlight. The villagers gasped. Ozioma's heart began to race. A man with a staff that shines. Ah, he whispered to himself. Maybe this is my chance. My opportunity. My destiny. As the stranger stepped fully into the light, his eyes scanned the village slowly, knowingly, until they landed directly on Ozioma. The young man felt a strange jolt in his chest. That moment marked the beginning of everything. His downfall, his awakening, his transformation. But Ozioma didn't know that yet. As far as he was concerned, destiny had finally arrived in Umuokpara. Night settled over Umuokpara, calm and cool, but the village was wide awake. A mysterious traveler was approaching, one unlike any they had ever heard of. Rumors had spread quickly. He walks without sound. His staff shines like moonlight. Some say he's older than the village itself. Curiosity pulled everyone to the village square. Elders, mothers, hunters, children. Even Ozioma squeezed to the front, excitement buzzing through him. Sudden hush fell. From the forest path, a tall, lean figure stepped out. The moon revealed him fully. An old man in a crimson wrapper, a white beard flowing down his chest, and a staff carved with shifting patterns. At its top was a glowing stone that lit the square with soft silver light. Gasps filled the air. The traveler greeted them gently, and Ogwefai Chima welcomed him with respect. The old man's staff tapped the ground. A metallic ring from a wooden staff. The villagers stiffened. When he sat, everyone formed a circle. Many watched from a distance, but Ozioma pushed forward until he stood directly before the traveler. "Young man," the old stranger said, studying him. "You are eager." "Yes," Ozioma replied boldly. "I want to learn the way to wealth. The easier way." Whispers of disapproval filled the air, But the traveler did not judge him. Instead he stroked his beard. "There are paths that promise quick fortune," he said. "Some rewarding, some dangerous. Some that whisper." Ozioma's eyes widened. "Tell me." The traveler raised his staff, and leaves on the ground swirled into the shape of a tiny glowing map. "There is a road," he said softly. "The whispering path. It appears only to those who desperately seek easy riches." The villagers gasped. Ogwefaichima stepped forward. "Stranger, these things bring trouble." "I only speak truth," the traveler replied calmly. Then he looked directly into Ozioma's eyes. "The whispering path gives quickly, but it takes even more quickly." Ozioma swallowed. "What does it take?" "Whatever matters most," the old man answered. Before Ozioma could ask another question, the traveler tapped his staff again. Humph! A burst of wind swept through the square, putting out the torches. When the flames were relit moments later, he was gone, vanished. Only the glowing leaf map remained at Ozioma's feet. Villagers panicked and argued, but Ozioma stared at the map as though entranced. Mama Uloku grabbed his arm. "My son, don't follow that path. Quick riches destroy." Ozioma gently pulled away. "This is my chance," he whispered. He picked up the glowing map. "I'm going. Tonight." And with that, Ozioma walked into the moonlit darkness, chasing the promise that had always ruled him. Instant riches. The night was deep and silent, the kind of night when the moon glows like polished ivory and the stars seem to whisper stories of long-forgotten times. Shadows stretched across the forest floor like ancient fingers, and the wind carried the faint scent of wildflowers mixed with something older, something unknown. Ozioma stood at the edge of the forest, clutching the glowing leaf map given by the mysterious traveler. His heart pounded with excitement and fear, but excitement won. "This is it," he breathed. "My path to riches. My destiny." Behind him, the village hummed with distant voices. Elders were still debating whether the traveler had been a blessing or a warning. Mothers were pulling their curious children inside. Hunters whispered prayers over their spears. And Mama Uloka. She stood by her doorway, staring into the darkness, praying her son would return safely. But Ozioma was too absorbed in his dreams to look back. He stepped into the forest. The forest that did not sleep. Umuokpara forest was usually calm at night, silent except for crickets and the occasional owl. But tonight was different. The moment Ozioma crossed the boundary of the first 3 trees, the forest seemed to awaken. Leaves rustled without wind. Branches swayed like they were greeting him. The air grew warmer, then cooler, then warmer again. He swallowed hard. But the glowing map pulsed gently in his hand, like a heartbeat guiding him deeper. He followed it. The path was narrow and winding, covered with roots that curled like resting snakes. The air shimmered faintly around him, glowing with dim, floating sparks that danced near the treetops. The deeper he walked, the more unusual the forest became. There were plants that glowed blue, casting soft light on the ground. There were flowers that hummed low notes, vibrating softly as he walked past. There were vines that twisted away on their own, clearing a path before he reached them. For a moment, Ozioma felt a flicker of fear. What kind of forest behaves like this? But then the map pulsed again, brighter this time, and his fear melted into ambition. "These wonders," he muttered. "They must be signs. Signs that I'm close to something powerful." The whisper begins. As he pushed deeper, he noticed something odd. Whispers. Soft drifting voices. But not from people. It was the wind. The wind was speaking. At first, it was faint like the rustling of leaves. Then it sharpened into distinct words. "Welcome." Ozioma froze. "You have come." His breath hitched. "To find what your heart desires." He spun around, searching for the source, but saw nothing except tall trees and faint mist. "Who's there?" he called, trying to sound brave. Silence. "Follow the path, Ozioma Nwankwo." He stumbled back. You know my name." The wind answered simply. We know all who seek shortcuts. His skin prickled. Fear began to whisper in the back of his mind. But then he clenched his fists. I'm not turning back, he said aloud. I've come too far. The forest seemed to chuckle, low, soft, almost approving. Good. Then walk, and listen. The glowing map in his hand dissolved, crumbling into sparks of light that floated away like tiny fireflies. In its place, a faint, luminous trail appeared on the forest floor, leading deeper into the unknown. Ozioma inhaled sharply. So this is the whispering path. And he followed. The tests of desire. The path sloped downward, leading him into a valley of mist. Strange trees loomed around him, their trunks twisted like spiraling ropes. The whispers grew louder, swirling around his ears. Do you want riches? Do you want comfort? Do you want success without sweat? Do you want the life others only dream of? Yes, he shouted impulsively. Yes, yes, I want it all. The forest trembled as if pleased. Then something shifted. The path widened, and Ozioma found himself in a clearing illuminated by pale blue light. In the center stood 3 enormous stones arranged in a circle. The whispers changed, deeper now, echoing strangely. Every seeker must face the stones of truth. Ozioma swallowed. Stones of what? Truth. One stone glowed faintly and floated upward, rotating slowly. Images began to appear on its surface, like smoke forming shapes. Farmers in the village bending over their crops, sweat glistening on their backs. Baskets full of yams and cassava, smiling families and full barns. And then Ozioma saw himself, sitting lazily under the udala tree while others worked. He winced. The stone whispered, "This is the life you rejected." The second stone floated up. Smoke swirled again, forming images of Ozioma lying while others harvested, running from simple tasks, making excuses, chasing fantasies. The stone spoke. "This is the truth you deny." The third stone rose slowly, much larger, much brighter. The images this time were different. Ozioma saw himself surrounded by piles of gold, wearing rich clothes, riding horses, eating feasts, living like a king. He smiled dreamily. Then the image twisted, showing him standing alone, pale, weak, with empty eyes, holding riches that turned to dust. The third stone whispered, "This is the price of what you seek." Ozioma shivered. A voice behind him suddenly spoke, calm, deep, and familiar. "You must choose." He spun around. The traveler. The very man from the village. But he looked different. Taller, more radiant, eyes glowing slightly, as if he belonged to this forest. "You!" Ozioma gasped. "You came here too." "I am always here," the traveler said simply. "Those who chase shortcuts eventually meet me." Ozioma stared at him, confused and frightened. But you gave me the map." "I did," the traveler replied. "Because guidance is not the same as choosing. You chose this path on your own." Ozioma shook his head. "I didn't come to be warned again. I came for the riches you spoke of." The traveler sighed. "Riches come with responsibility. Quick riches come with chains." Ozioma frowned. "Chains?" The traveler pointed at the stones. "You must choose now. Walk away and return to the honest life waiting in your village. Or follow the whispering path to its end." Ozioma stared at the glowing trail ahead. "What is at the end?" he asked. The traveler's eyes grew shadowed. "Exactly what you think you want, and exactly what you don't." Ozioma hesitated. For the first time since leaving the village, doubt wrapped itself around his heart like creeping vines. His mother's voice echoed faintly in his mind. Quick riches never end well. But then the forest whispered again, seductive, tempting. "Don't turn back. You deserve wealth. You have suffered enough. Others have things you don't. Take what the path offers." Ozioma felt his resolve harden. He stepped forward. The traveler's expression saddened, But he did not stop him. "You have made your choice," he said quietly. Ozioma lifted his chin proudly. "I choose the riches," he said. "The easy road. The whispering path." The forest glowed brighter. The stones crumbled into dust. And the trail ahead pulsed with blinding light, calling him deeper. Without looking back, Ozioma stepped onto it. As he disappeared into the luminous fog, the traveler whispered one final sentence, one Ozioma never heard. "May the path teach you what I could not." The night crept upon Qum village slowly, like a patient hunter stalking its prey. Evening drums faded, cooking fires dimmed, and families drifted indoors. But for Chidi, sleep refused to come. His mind churned like a restless storm. Each time he closed his eyes, he saw the golden statue, smelled the strange forest fog, heard the rumble beneath the earth. Something had awakened in the forest, something ancient, something that had noticed him. And it wasn't pleased. Crescent moon Chidi's restless night. Chidi paced inside his mud hut, palms sweaty, heart thumping. "Maybe I should return home," he muttered. "Maybe wealth is not worth all this." But then he imagined the same things he always imagined. A compound with several rooms. A barn overflowing with yams and cassava. A new wrapper for Mom Ngozi. New school books for her children. A larger farmland. Better life. His breathing steadied. "No," he whispered. "I cannot give up now." Yet a cold wind swept through the hut even though the windows were shut. The flame in his lantern flickered violently and went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Chidi froze. Who is there?" Only silence answered. The window. Chidi's heart jumped. He grabbed a wooden pestle for protection. "Who goes there?" A familiar female voice replied softly. "It is me." Chidi opened the window and gasped. Zuri returns. The girl, or spirit, that had warned him earlier stood outside. Her luminous eyes glowed gently in the moonlight. Her presence brought both peace and unease. "Zuri," Chidi whispered. "You came back." "I had to," she said. "You touched what you should not have touched, Chidi. And now the forest is stirring." Chidi swallowed hard. "I didn't take the statue." "I know. You left before you committed the final mistake." "That is good." "So what now?" he asked. "What does the forest want with me?" Zuri stepped closer. Her feet did not disturb the grass. "The forest protects the land," she said. "It nourishes your crops, brings rain. It watches your footsteps. But when you try to cheat the land, when you seek wealth without sweat, it reacts." Chidi felt his stomach tighten. "Are you saying I angered the forest?" "Yes. But I didn't mean harm. Intent does not erase consequences." Chidi's throat became dry. "So what do I do? How do I make it right?" Before Zuri could answer, the ground trembled beneath them, softly at first, then with growing force. Something enormous was walking. Zuri's eyes widened. "It has begun. Fire the forest spirit awakes." From the direction of the forest, a deep rumble echoed through the valley. Birds burst from trees in waves, screeching. The air thickened as though the entire night held its breath. Chidi clutched his chest. "What is that sound?" "The guardian of the land," Zuri whispered. "The one who keeps balance." Chidi's legs weakened. "You mean, there is an actual spirit watching us?" "Yes," she replied. "And it is coming." As if answering her words, a powerful wind rushed from the forest, swirling dust and leaves in every direction. Roofs rattled. Palm fronds shook violently. Goats bleated in terror. Chidi staggered backwards. No, this cannot be happening." Zuri grabbed his wrist. "You must choose quickly," she said. "Do you want wealth without work, or life without fear?" Chidi stared at her, confused and terrified. I want both." Zuri shook her head gently. "That is impossible." The rumbling grew louder and louder, like thunder marching toward the village. "Chitty," she said urgently, "listen to me. The guardian will not harm you if you confess your greed. If you step forward and acknowledge your wrongdoing. But I didn't steal anything. Greed is not only in the hands," Zuri said softly. "It begins in the heart." Chitty felt as though she had slapped him. Thunder cracked across the sky. A towering shape emerged at the edge of the forest. Massive, shrouded in swirling mist, glowing faintly with earth-colored light. Its silhouette was the shape of a giant, but its body seemed to be made of rooted vines, ancient bark, and living earth. The guardian. The spirit that protected the farmland. The one who punished those who sought shortcuts. Chitty fell to his knees instantly. The guardian speaks. The entire village began waking up. Doors opened. People peeked out. Children cried. Elders muttered prayers. Everyone saw it. Everyone felt it. The guardian's voice echoed without a mouth. Deep, vibrating, resonating through soil and bone. "Who seeks wealth without work?" Zuri stepped back slowly. "This is your moment, Chitty." Chitty trembled so hard the pestle fell from his hand. I didn't mean to." "Stand and speak," the guardian commanded. Chitty stood, legs shaking like a newborn calf. "Great guardian," he stammered. I only wanted a better life. I was tired of working and getting nowhere." Silence. He swallowed. "I thought shortcuts would save me." The guardian's glowing eyes narrowed. Then it spoke again, slowly, heavily. "The earth rewards those who till, not those who try to trick it." Chitty nodded vigorously. Yes, I see that now. Do you accept your error?" Chitty bowed his head. "I do." "Do you choose the honest path of hard work?" "I do. I truly do." The guardian lifted its enormous hand, made of roots and vines, and gently touched the soil. A warm glow spread through the ground, through the air, through Chitty himself. Then the spirit faded, shrinking, dissolving into particles of light until it vanished completely. The tremors stopped. The wind calmed. Night became quiet once more. Zuri stepped forward and placed a hand on Chitty's shoulder. "You chose well." Chitty breathed shakily. "Zuri, who are you really?" "A guide," she said softly. "Nothing more." Her form began to blur, fade, dissolve like mist touched by morning sun. "Wait, will I see you again?" Chitty asked. Her fading smile was gentle. "That depends on the choices you make from now on." And with that, she vanished into the night, leaving Chitty alone, terrified, awestruck, and forever changed. For the first time in a long while, Chitty woke before the sun. No rooster crowed. No neighbor stirred. No sound broke the peace of dawn. Yet Chitty was wide awake. Not from fear. Not from greed. But from clarity. The memories of the night before replayed in his mind like a sacred film. The guardian rising like a mountain of vines. Zuri fading into mist. The trembling earth. And the realization that shortcuts lead to greater losses than gains. He rubbed his face and took a long breath. "This is the day I start again. Sheaf of rice, a new beginning." Chitty stepped outside, and the village surprised him. People stood in small groups, whispering. "Is he the one the guardian spoke to?" Chitty saw the spirit with his own eyes. What did he do? Chitty felt heat rise to his cheeks. Shame filled him, but so did a strange strength. Instead of hiding, he addressed them with calm honesty. "Yes, the guardian came because of me." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Chitty continued, voice steady. "I wanted quick wealth. I wanted to skip the sweat. And in doing so, I disrespected the land that feeds us. I was wrong." Silence. Then, to everyone's surprise, including his own, Chitty bowed deeply. "I will work honestly from now on. And if anyone has advice to give me, I will listen." The villagers exchanged stunned looks. This was not the Chitty they knew. The lazy one. The shortcut seeker. The dreamer without discipline. No, this was someone new. Mama Ozioma, An elderly woman with a back bent from decades of farming hobbled forward. "Come," she said. "If you are ready to learn, I will show you how to farm like a man of purpose." Chidi nodded gratefully. His new life had begun. Sun with face the months of transformation. The weeks that followed tested him more than anything the guardian had done. Chidi woke early, worked until the sun turned his skin dark, sweated until his shirt clung to his body, learned how to plant, weed, water, and nurture crops the proper way. He stumbled. His back ached. His hands blistered and hardened. But every time he wanted to give up, he remembered the guardian's booming voice. "The earth rewards those who till it." And he remembered Zuri's glowing eyes urging him toward honesty. Slowly, steadily, Chidi's hard work began to show. His yams sprouted strong. His beans rose healthy. His cassava grew tall. People passing by often stopped to admire. "Chidi, your crops are doing well. See how he tends to the soil. Hard work fits you, my friend." Chidi smiled each time. Not from pride, but from gratitude. The land was finally answering him, not because he begged it for riches, but because he respected it. Tractor the harvest season. Harvest time arrived. Villagers walked toward their farms singing, laughing, and ready for a day of gathering blessings. Chidi approached his own farm with nerves fluttering in his belly. "This is it," he whispered. "Whatever I reap today, let it be honest." He plunged his hoe into the earth. His eyes widened. The first yam he pulled out was thick and long, bigger than any he had ever grown before. He moved to another, even bigger, another, even healthier. Soon, Chidi stood surrounded by heaps of yams, bags of beans, and piles of cassava. It was more than enough. Enough to feed himself. Enough to sell in the market. Enough to help others. Tears welled in his eyes. This is what honest work brings. He sank to his knees, overwhelmed with gratitude. Just then he felt a gentle breeze brush his cheek. Warm, soft, familiar. He looked around, hoping to see Zuri. He didn't see her, but he sensed her. Her whisper seemed to float on the wind. "You chose well." Houses, the change in Kum village. Chidi became a new man, and Kum village took notice. Children followed him, asking questions. "Uncle Chidi, how do you plant yams like this?" "You have to respect the soil," he told them. "Speak kindly to it. Work with it, not against it." Young men asked for advice. "What changed you, Chidi?" He smiled. "A mistake changed me. One that almost cost the whole village." Even elders invited him to meetings, something that would have been unthinkable before. Mama Ozioma often patted his shoulder. "You were once lazy," she said, "but look at you now, an example." Chidi never bragged, never flaunted his success, never forgot the lesson he had learned. His wealth grew, gently, steadily. Not overnight like he once wished, but surely, and because it came from his sweat, he valued it deeply. Crescent moon one last visit. One night, months later, Chidi walked to the edge of the forest, the same place where he had first met Zuri. "Thank you," he whispered, "for guiding me." A soft glow flickered between the trees. Zuri appeared, calm, radiant, more peaceful than he had ever seen her. "You have done well, Chidi. You came back," he said, smiling warmly. "I came to give you a final message." Chidi nodded, eager to hear it. "Remember," she said gently, "the true wealth of a man is not in coins or treasures, but in the work of his hands, the honesty of his heart, and the legacy he leaves behind." Chidi bowed deeply. "Thank you, Zuri." She smiled, her glow softening. "You no longer need a guide. The land itself speaks to you now." Then, like a candle gently blown out, she vanished. This time, Chidi didn't feel fear or loss. He felt peace. A long, deep-lasting peace. Sheaf of rice the moral. Hard work builds true wealth. Chidi's story spread far beyond Nkum. Travelers told it in other villages. Elders shared it with their children. Farmers used it as a reminder. And the moral became clear. Shortcuts promise quick blessings. But honest work brings blessings that last. Wealth gained too easily slips away. But wealth gained through effort stays and multiplies. Chitty learned the truth the hard way. And never forgot it. And so the tale of the lazy farmer who wanted quick riches became a lesson for generations. Hard work builds wealth. Greed destroys it. And that, more than anything, was the real treasure Chitty found.